Hi and welcome to today's video. I recently been super inspired by Wisteria, and after some Pinterest searching, I found some interesting doors with Wisteria all around. Well, this one doesn't have Wisteria. I don't even know if it's real actually, to be honest, or AI. Not very sure, but bear with me here. I really liked the colors of this one. And from this one, I was inspired to make how to make the shape for the wisteria. Because you can see it's all a bunch of them all together. I thought to myself, well, how about I can create a wisteria brush from scratch so I can make it easy. Today I tried to combine some of these elements that I see here. So this is what I'm trying to do today. It's just a door with some wisteria. You can also find my wisteria brush that I created in the description below on my Patreon. It is absolutely free to take it from there. But I'm also thinking maybe we can create for a future video the wisteria brush together and see how I did it. It's very easy. I think it will be like 3 to 5 minutes tops. So yeah, let's begin. I start with a rough sketch. I keep it on a separate layer and always on top, just so I can see the whole time I'm working. It helps me stay on track and not get lost in the details too early. For this whole drawing, I'm using two brushes, the dry ink and my wisteria brush. You can see in the top left corner which brush I'm using and the color too. I like adding that so it's easier to follow along if you like. I'll speed up the boring parts like base coloring or anything super repetitive. I try not to overthink it too much at this stage, just getting things blocked in. Choosing colors takes me a while. I'll be honest, color is not really my strong point. Not that I really have one, but I do enjoy experimenting. For this one, I'm coloring everything by hand, not using color drop. I actually tried color drop at first, but it made the texture from the brush disappear, and I really like how the texture looks, so I decided to just color it manually. It takes longer, but I think it's worth it. Sometimes I forget how long drawing actually takes. Like you sit down thinking it will be quick, and 3 hours later you're still adjusting one flower, right? Now switching to the wisteria brush, I start with the darker purple, not the darkest, but kind of in the middle, and I fill in some of the wisteria shapes. Then I make another layer underneath and use a deeper purple to add shadows and give it more depth. After that, I make a new layer on top of everything and I add a lighter purple and then even lighter on top of that. I've kind of go back and forth between the layers, just checking if it looks full enough or if anything needs adjusting. I don't always plan things perfectly, I kind of figure it out as I go. Sometimes I just try stuff and see what works. In my reference photo, I noticed these pretty roots growing up from the ground around the door. I thought they were a nice detail, so I'm trying to add something similar here too. This layer goes behind the wisteria flowers, so the roots are only slightly visible through the gaps, and they also peek through a little because the petals aren't fully opaque. Adding things like that, roots, cracks, random shapes, can really help make a drawing feel more real and a little bit more interesting. Even if no one notices them right away, I feel like they still make a difference. Now I start adding shadows and highlights. I begin with the wall, I make a new layer, set it to multiply, lower the opacity, and then use Gaussian blur until it looks soft enough. I do the same for the top part of the wall too. On the door though, the blur doesn't look great. So I just keep the original brush strokes and use the smudge tool with the same brush to soften the edges a little bit. That way, it still feels textures, just not as harsh. Every drawing is different. Some parts come together super easily, and others are just stubborn and don't look right no matter what you try. I've learned to just keep going and fix it later if it bugs me enough. Now I add highlights to the door, the wall, and the roots. I use a soft brush in a light color on a new layer, and I set it to add so the light kind of glows. I like using layers like this so I can adjust things separately if I need. Then I do the same thing for the wisteria, but I switch back to the wisteria brush to keep the texture looking right. At this point, I'm mostly just tweaking small things. I add some tiny light dots here and there. They're really simple, but they help make the drawing feel more alive. Like there's a bit of sparkle or movement. And then I add some soft light coming through the petals. I blur it a bit with Gaussian blur, so it looks more natural and soft. And that's it. I think it's done now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Hope you enjoy it. Goodbye. Bye bye.